Welcome to the Nobody Knowz podcast with Callie Zamzo. Join us for conversations with local changemakers and hear the stories that don't always get told. It'll be honest, messy and beautiful, touching and humorous. Slow down, pour a glass, and pull up a chair. This is the Nobody Knowz podcast.
Welcome to Nobody Knowz. I'm your host, Callie Zamzo. Today, we're going to be talking right in our wheelhouse. I am thrilled about it. I'm going to start with the Zamzo's tip of the day. So here we go. The tip is, we're almost heading into April here. Don't jump the gun. And in order for you not to jump the gun, we have a class coming up this week, especially if you are new to Idaho, where you can come and learn Gardening 101. And if you are new to the Valley especially, but even if you're not, if you've been around for a long time, this is a class that will help you with the basics. It will help you answer specific questions you might have. And it will be at all 12 Zamzo's stores throughout the Valley. It will be this Saturday, April 4th, 2026, in case you're listening in the future, at 10 a.m. And again, all stores. And while you're there learning, we also have a sale that's going on. So all sort of garden supplies are going to be on sale. So you can learn all about things, and then you can, buy stuff for a less expensive price, which is great. Also want to remind you that we are closed this Sunday, April 5th for Easter. For those of you who celebrate that, happy Easter. But all stores will be closed on April 5th for Easter. And now that we're done with that, I'm going to tell you a little story. About 6 years ago, I'm going to say bravely signed up, although later I realized I didn't have to be that brave. But I'm saying this in case any of you are listening and decide that you'd like to do the same thing that I did. I felt like I had to be super brave to sign up for the Master Gardener program through the University of Idaho. My brother had been a Master Gardener. My mom had gone through the Master Food Safety program. And so there were relatives that had done it. And I just it was one of those things that was in the back of my mind that I just kind of wanted to do. And so I signed up at Canyon County, and I was so scared. I was so scared because I'd been out of education for a while and I thought maybe I was unable to learn things. I don't know what I thought. I was just worried about it. And it turned out to be a fantastic experience. I learned so much. I continue to learn so much. What I learned mostly is that you're not going through it to be the master of the universe. You're just trying to learn things so that you can then share information with other people in a way that is science-backed. And a lot of what I learned is how to gather information that is science-backed. That was one of the biggest things that I learned. But it's been a wonderful experience. And then I've stayed on. So this is my 6th year with helping out with the Canyon County Extension Agency with the Master Gardeners. And I continue to just keep learning. And sometimes I relearn stuff that it happens. It happens. So today, this is particularly fun because I have 2 guests. And so I'm going to introduce you to. So first we have Sierra Laverty. She is the Ada County Horticulture Educator for University of Idaho Extension. And then we have Brad Stokes, who is a veteran on this show. He's been on before. So Brad Stokes, he is the Canyon County Horticulture Educator for the University of Idaho Extension. Yes. Thanks for being here, both of you.
Yes. Thank you for the invite. We're excited.
We're stoked.
So I want to hear, before we get going too far, I want to hear about each of you, but I want to just kind of set the scene for people who are not aware. You two operate in 2 different jurisdictions, and bringing you together is kind of a first. It's a cool thing. And it's really because you two have actively decided to begin working together, which is such a huge benefit for our community. And so I'm very excited about talking about it. Before we get going too far, will each one of you kind of give like in your own words, sort of what you do and anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for having us. Yeah. So amazing. So as a horticulture educator, we wear many hats. So we are the overseer of the Master Gardener program, obviously, and facilitator of that in both of our respective counties. We both also run our county's plant clinic as well. which is a huge part of our jobs. But more so than that, we're the bridge, I would say, between the research that's conducted by the university and by other universities and everyday people. So we're really out there creating resources for the community through bulletins and other publications, trying to inform the general public, but also the broader green industry, horticulture industry, about science and the latest trends in horticulture. Yeah.
Cool.
I would concur with that. It's really all about education.
Yeah.
Whether we're doing an in-person class, a Zoom class, if we're writing something for a newspaper outlet, a magazine, our bulletins, our peer-refereed journal articles, it's all about getting education to people and our constituents, the entire state of Idaho. We do focus on our counties, but our entire goal is to educate everyone and all the people, including youth.
Well, and you do such a good job of making it welcoming to everybody. So I'd like to speak directly to somebody who's listening who is like, I didn't go to college. I don't, I'm that I would not be able to do. You're wrong. You absolutely can do it.
Oh yeah.
It's all presented in a way that's very user friendly and really the whole point is that we want you to understand these things. So if we have to tell you 89 different directions so that you understand it, we'll happily do that. We're patient. It's such a great program for anybody who wants to do it. And so I do find that we are kind of a quirky bunch.
Oh, yeah.
But that doesn't, I think, have to do with the education. I think it has to do with the fact that we're gardeners.
Scientists are weird people, I'll tell you.
I feel that. Well, so one of the things that I really like about both of you that I think is very interesting is that you're both entomologists.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So is that well, first of all, for our listener, what's entomology?
The science of studying insects and their relatives, though you could separate out the mites or the spiders, the centipedes, the millipedes, but I would say the study of the insects.
Mm-hmm. Which is it typical that you might both have that as a background thing and be doing what you're doing?
It's more common than you might think.
Yeah?
Yeah, we have a lot of entomologists at University of Idaho, in extension specifically. I think for me, so my bachelor's degree is in horticulture. The broad, vast majority of my experience is in horticulture. But I wanted to study entomology because I wanted to learn more specifically about insects because they are so diverse and so specific in their biology and behavior and everything else that I felt like that was a piece that I was missing after doing my undergrad and working in the industry for a little while. So that's kind of where I ended up with entomology.
I would say the entomologists are the smartest too, no offense. When 100%. You look at life on the planet, the insects are probably somewhere between 55 and 60% of all the species we have on Earth. Mm. So if you're an expert in that field, you can do more than half of every scientific question.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Yeah.
And I didn't realize in getting involved with the Master Gardeners that we would be doing so much with entomology. I was really surprised by that. And it's some of my favorite stuff is when somebody brings in a bug and says, what is this? And, should I be worried about it? Mm-hmm. And that one, we get to look at them under the microscope. Mm-hmm. And then, you're pointing out things like, the various features and like, this is what makes it different than this. And I always find that very, very interesting.
It's complicated, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, much more than I thought. Like you just think, oh, well, you ought to be able to look at it and go, well, yeah. Or just, well, it looks like a bug.
That's really one reason why I love the Master Gardener program so much, that you find these rabbit holes everywhere.
Everywhere you look.
You learn that there's an expert in this specific type of little mite that exists only on this specific plant, and you don't have to dive down into that information, but your awareness of the world, I feel like when you participate in a program like that, just expands because you get to understand that, oh man, everything around us has such depth, and it's really, it's really beautiful.
It's fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's very, well, and microbiology feels the same way to me as well. Like talk about diving in the deep end and looking at a microscope and being like, what am I looking at here? and then you think about like the whole food chain and all the different, living beings that are involved with that. And it's great stuff. Okay, let's talk a little bit about U of I Extension. So what do you two wish that people understood about what you guys do and in both of the counties? What do you wish that people, when they hear about the extension, what do you wish that they knew about what you do?
What I wish they knew about what U of I Extension does for the state, for the region, for the national and even international audience, is we have programs in so many different fields. We have agriculture, water, horticulture, family and consumer science, livestock, small acreage. We have specialists in potato, in cereals, pathology. We have experts throughout the entire state, and we're all on the same team. We're all wearing the same uniform, if you will. So we are everywhere. If you look for us and find us, we probably have the answer or can point you in that direction.
And you want to. That's the fun.
That's our job. That's our entire job.
Yeah. I'd add on to that too, the way that Extension is set up through land-grant universities across the United States is that you have specialists whose job it is to really go in and again like research those really specific scientific questions, and you have educators throughout the United States in every county that are in 42
counties.
42 I was being broad strokes there. 42 out of 44 of Idaho's counties has a county educator whose job it is to interpret that information and understand it deeply, and then also connect with people locally on their actual issues that they're experiencing in their own communities. So I think that sometimes universities can be thought of as the ivory tower complex, and that they're far away, they're out of reach, and for the everyday person who may not even have any sort of higher education, it's not there's no wall there between our especially county educators and the community. We're immersed living our lives here, experiencing the same things as you are, and we get the great pleasure of getting to digest all of this information and then share it in a way that feels easily understood and approachable and like relatable too. So
I can attest that you do that very well. And I think that was just like when I was thinking about taking the class, how scary it is. If somebody even just wants to ask a question, I think that can be really scary. I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to ask the dumb question. I don't want to walk in and then have them be like, get out of here, And it's so not that way. You're so welcoming. And I think, in fact, when people come in, it's kind of exciting. It's like, oh, good. They've got something that we get to jump in the middle of and try to resolve and figure out. And, it's fun. It's a cool thing. Very welcoming.
I feel like they're like mystery box surprises when they bring in stuff. You're like,
they very much are.
I've never seen this, and I've been doing it for 12, 15 years, right?
You get to play detective.
Yeah. That's my favorite part too. It's really fun. Although I got to tell you, I'm always grateful when I've got help in the room that has the higher knowledge base, because it can be, even as as one of the people who was volunteering, very intimidating. So, but it doesn't need to be. It really doesn't. And if we don't know, guess what? We'll just continue to look, and we'll bring in other people, and we'll figure it out, which is super fun.
Well, I would add on to that. There's stuff that comes in my office in Sierras where we don't even know.
Oh, yeah.
So we reach out to specialists around the state, or even specialists on campus or in other universities.
Yeah.
It's okay not to know everything.
Yeah. And I know this because I've worked a little bit more with you, Brad, but sometimes something will come in and I can't tell if you know or not, because you don't want to give it away. You want to let us have the opportunity as the learners to learn.
Absolutely.
So you're not like, well, it's technically this, and here's how I know. You're like, I don't know. What do you think? And then we start researching, and sometimes we'll get on a rabbit hole, and we'll be like, you might consider looking this direction.
Warmer.
Weave it,
Yes.
weave us in the right direction so that we land on
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
But even that process is fun. And you have a safety net, so we don't have to feel like boneheads. We can,
Absolutely.
which is great. Okay, so as we're heading into April, what are some of the questions that are coming into your offices right now?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions about this winter being so warm and what's going to
Yes.
happen in the springtime.
No snowpack. That's probably.
No snowpack.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, in general right now, so we're getting some greenhouse questions right now as well, because that's where things are actively growing. Some questions about looking forward to spring, like what should I be planting? What should I be doing? How should I be adjusting my practices from last year? And then just in general, I feel like we get a lot of what's wrong with my tree? What's wrong with my turf? What's wrong with my XYZ? What insect is this? I mean, you
That's
name it.
exactly the same
Yeah.
thing we're getting.
Yeah.
How do we manage this? What is this? The mystery box question that I love. We're seeing pathogens probably come out a little bit earlier.
Yeah, definitely.
I think with the warmer temperature, even though we haven't had snowpack, we've still had a lot of precipitation, weirdly. Just no snowpack.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
it's been a
those
weird year.
Pathogens are really doing well right now. I would say the insects will probably do well this summer as well,
Yeah.
given they're probably waking up right now.
Yeah. Well, you kind of described that a little bit so that our listener might understand why we might have more insects this year because of the milder winter.
Sure, I would say, simply put, they're poikilotherms. They're cold-blooded.
Okay.
So their internal body temperature matches the ambient temperature. And if that ambient macro or microclimate is high, they're going to be awake. They're going to be flying around.
Earlier than usual.
Yeah. The eggs will hatch. They'll come out of a pupa and be an adult. They'll mate sooner. So they might have a little bit of a head start on our garden plants this year.
Okay. Is there enough of a time span for an insect to, if they woke up early, got busy early, and then is it possible to have like an additional round? Like, okay,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. There's a whole host of species that go from that 1 year life cycle to 2 sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah, and then ones that have this, we call them boom and bust population insects that just rapidly developed in many, many, many generations.
I think of like all the aphids,
Yeah,
coddling moth, stuff like that.
We're already
Yeah.
seeing aphids on roses right now.
Wow.
Like it's insane. Yeah, this year's it's gonna be pretty nutty as far as those kind of rapid generation insects.
Yeah.
And I also think that the ones that vector viruses might get a prolonged chance to vector that to our plants.
Yep, definitely.
So it might be a
Oh.
really weird year.
Yeah. Well, and as far as the snowpack, is it potential that we're going to have issues with water and needing to conserve? And I know a few years ago we had an issue that was semi-similar, but I don't think it was as bad as this year.
Well, and I'd remind you, me and her aren't water specialists.
Right. That's right.
Yeah,
I
we
do
have
remember
colleagues.
that.
We have colleagues for that. For
Yeah,
sure.
we do have colleagues for that.
But,
Good to know.
We can always talk about how you in southern Idaho,
Yeah.
we should all be concerned about water and our water use, and that looking at plants and xeriscaping, not
There you go.
zero
Right.
scaping. Right.
Love it that you said that.
Like XERI, not zero,
Yeah.
but recommending plants that will really help us reduce our water waste.
And we are in a desert.
Yes,
we
we
got to
are.
remind ourselves of that constantly.
Right.
11 inches. Yeah.
It's so interesting how many people will come into Zamzo's with lawn problems, and we will. The number one question we ask is, "Tell us about your watering."
Always.
Always.
That's for
It-
later in our segment.
Yes, but it
Yeah.
fixes so many things, and yes, we'll get a chance to talk about that. But I think this year in particular, educating on that is going to be huge.
Yes.
Okay, so I hope this isn't touchy, but I'm curious about you two working together. So, and I don't know enough about like kind of dynamics previously. I'm just excited about what's happening right now. And I feel like that it makes sense for you to be working together. I'd like to hear it from your own words. Like how did this come about that you decided that you wanted to work closer together?
Yeah, well, I started in June, so I'm new to the University of Idaho Extension Service. Had met Brad before, through many different conferences and things like that, but immediately was excited to have a partner in crime when it comes to solving problems locally. I mean, that's the big thing here is that especially pests and diseases don't know county boundaries.
Right, as it turns out.
Yeah,
They don't care.
We gotta turn around
where
now.
they are.
It'd be kind of nice if they did, but
It would be great if we could.
It's a lot of training
get
on
them
this.
to usher one way or the other. But so that's really important that we share information as much as we can. That we share resources. And it really strengthens both of our programs, I think, to be stronger together rather than kind of in our own silos. And it's more fun.
Yeah.
And
It
frankly,
is.
it's more fun to work with someone that you can bounce ideas off of and share struggles, but also share achievements and share, exciting moments and support each other. So.
Yeah, and I would say I have some Canyon County Master Gardeners that live in Ada County,
Yep.
and I'm sure she
I'm
has
one of them.
Ada
Yep.
County Master
Exactly.
Gardeners that
Yep.
live in Canyon County. So if we can bridge those volunteer opportunities,
I love that.
we can cross collaborate and really help the community as a whole. It is important that we are in the Treasure Valley, right?
Yeah.
We face the same issues.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, so is there enough of a difference between your two counties that there would be different questions that would do?
There's a few.
Yes and no.
yes and no. There's a lot of overlap for sure. There are some differences. I would say Ada County, we're looking more at, that space along the foothills in terms of folks wanting to learn more about the wild urban interface, which is that area between development and then wild spaces. So we get a lot of questions around fire-wise, landscaping, plants that are more suited for those kind of circumstances where you don't want your house burning down if there is a wildfire. We saw the Valley Fire last year. That was so I think that we do have probably that more prevalent in Ada County. A little bit denser urban spaces, but not by that much.
Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
anymore. You look at
I mean, there are
downtown
parts, I think, of
Nampa.
Canyon County that are much more rural that we don't have as much in Ada.
Exactly.
I would say we have a little bit more rural, maybe larger lot sizes on the edge of some of these municipalities.
Right.
And then definitely that clash going on between urban and suburban and true ag fields.
Oh, sure.
That's really going on in Canyon County.
Wow. It's a lot of juggling there. Okay, so you guys kind of touched on this a little bit, that there are more things that you do at the extension than just gardening. So can you dive in just a little bit further into what are some of the other things that are done? Like if somebody was curious about what else you provide for the community.
What do we provide for the community? All sorts of information. I really like to focus on the scholarship myself. I would be honest and say we are on these professor tenure track jobs. So you go from assistant to associate to full professor, and it includes that scholarship component. In my role, I really like to write the bulletins that are free to download for the public, and it includes all the information on that pest, that insect, that pathogen, including all the IPM information. And that's really critical for me, that I can essentially teach while I'm sleeping in bed at night, right? Like that's nice.
Yeah.
You're reaching a couple hundred people or thousands of people.
Yeah, it's such a great thing.
And we also serve on service and committee things. We each do a little bit of 4-H youth development because 4-H youth development is really critical for extension, making sure we reach the youth of Idaho.
I agree.
Yeah.
It is one of the cool things you guys do.
Yeah. What else do we do?
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, there's so much, and as someone who's come on last year, I feel like I'm still learning, especially about all the different things that my colleagues are doing.
Yeah.
we
You
have.
got to be drinking from a fire hose. Is all.
I think we're all always doing that.
Even I am. Yeah.
From what I understand, that doesn't change. But yeah, it's kind of amazing the things that that we're learning about other educators that are going out into communities, doing bilingual education for youth in STEM. We've got
That's cool.
Yeah,
that is
I
cool.
mean, there's so many amazing programs that really not a lot of people know about in Extension that are happening right here in the Treasure Valley.
Yeah.
I would say if you're new to Treasure Valley, it's kind of a cool place to start because it is so friendly. You can meet new people very quickly, and then you can understand what's going on in our area. I that brings me to my next question. We have a lot of newcomers that have come into the valley and continue to come into the valley, and we're unique. I'm going to make it in a kind way that our soil is unique.
Yes.
Special.
And conditions can be unique and all that fun stuff. What are some of the typical questions and ways that you're helping newcomers to the valley understand like our soils and things like that?
Yeah, well, we do live in a desert. So that's usually where I start the conversation because I get a lot of folks that are moving here from just really wherever that unless they've lived in the Intermountain West, they really don't understand how challenging it can be to grow certain plants here.
Yes.
That we have different weeds here. We have a lot of invasive annual grasses that are more aggressive here than they would be in other parts of the country. But really, when we start to get down to looking at, water influences everything. That 11 inches of precipitation puts us like right above that definition of a true desert.
Yeah.
And that also means that our soils have very high pH. They're alkaline.
Probably above 8.
Yeah, a lot of times really leaning into that spectrum that is, I think about, acids and bases. We have very basic soils, alkaline soils. Most plants prefer that 6.5, maybe to 7 range.
Yes.
Yeah.
We usually sit above 7, well into the 8, and that every, unit above that is like there's a massive gap even between 7.1 and 7.2.
Exactly.
Right.
And that difference can really stress plants that aren't well adapted to that. They can have limited nutrients just moving through their systems. Even like the nutrients that get to them, the way that they utilize it is different because of our pH, and that we have heavy calcium in our soils.
Yes,
heavy
lots of calcium.
So we're unique in that way. And I guess the big one is iron chlorosis is what we see, and especially a lot of
see it
our
everywhere.
trees.
Everywhere.
Yeah, so that's where iron is limited, and the movement of iron is limited in soils with our high pH, and then certain plants aren't well adapted to dealing with that, so they start to turn yellow, where the veins will be green, but then the rest of the leaf is yellow, and you wonder, why does that thing look so sick? And it's like, is it a disease? No, it's just the soil and the plant's ability to deal with it.
Our listener doesn't realize it, but you've just created now they're going to see it. They're going to be looking at me like, then there's chlorosis and there's chlorosis.
Middle of summer. Yeah.
And I would add on, it really is our soils. We have iridosols, right? They're low in organic matter, high in pH, typically very low in nitrogen, very high in calcium. And then you can get other weird chemical stuff going on. I would always tell a listener, go and get a soil test.
Oh, yeah.
Please. Let's get to that baseline. And then the second thing I would say is plant selection. Right?
Oh gosh, yes.
So if you are growing a hydrangea in Western Washington, that does not mean that acid-loving plant is going to grow well in a pH of 8.2 in southwestern Idaho.
It's true. It's true. Or you're going to have it, but it's not going to have those beautiful blue blooms.
Exactly.
It's going to be white and pink or whatever.
Yeah.
So me and her are working on the plant selection component, researching what you're going to plant, how you're going to plant it. That's really the start of eliminating a lot of landscape problems, I would
Absolutely.
say.
And trees. Let's not forget the trees. Choosing trees.
You have the tree expert right here.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. But
Great.
I know my tree that I'm just like, oh, that's I think it doesn't do well here. Would you tell me a little bit about some of the trees that you would, I mean, ideally we would not necessarily plant these particular trees just because it's harder. It's like,
Yeah. So, trees, so broadly looking at the Treasure Valley and trees kind of period here, we have a handful of trees that are native to the Treasure Valley, but only a handful. We're looking at things like cottonwoods and netleaf hackberry, ponderosa pine up in the foothills. There really aren't a lot. We don't live in a forest necessarily unless you're like down by the river. So our urban trees are immediately in this place where they're not necessarily well adapted to the urban environment and to the high desert that we have here.
The extreme heats in the summer.
Yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna
Yeah,
stress
absolutely.
For sure. So you need to look to other places where they have similar climates and similar soils and bring trees in that can withstand those kind of conditions. So the big one, the big few, I guess, that we get questions about, I would, and I always say, if it's on my top 5 list of things that I get questions about, it's probably not something that you want to be actively
I
planting
would
a lot
concur.
of.
Yeah, definitely.
If it's on my top 5 list, you probably don't. Yeah, want to. At least it's not that you have to pull it out, but you probably don't want to be putting any more in. One of them is autumn blaze maple.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
probably
Oh,
the biggest
yeah.
That's
offender.
the one I was
Oh,
going to
yeah.
say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one that we see the most issues with iron chlorosis, and the bigger picture here with trees is that every single stressor that trees experience, so heat, like Brad mentioned, water stress, iron chlorosis issue,
Nitrogen stuff. Yeah.
nitrogen, any of those things kind of set the stage initially. Planting practices, that's a huge thing.
Yes.
Locally that we're really working hard to address is proper planting. But every single one of those pieces fits into something called the tree mortality spiral. And the tree mortality spiral basically tells us that as we add in these basically like coins stacking and stacking and stacking each one of these stressors, it can eventually cause the tree to fail, whether that's limb failure, branch failure, or complete failure and tree death as you just continue to stack those things. It's just like people. When we get stressed, we get sick. Trees and plants are the same way.
Exactly,
and
especially with the pathogens.
Yeah, and that's what brings in a lot of our pathogens and insects. Insect pests are looking for those stressed trees. They can actually sense the stress on trees as far as like they can smell those pheromones. They can actually visually identify when trees are stressed or failing. And then they come in as these secondary stressors that, again, the tree also has to fight against. It's a balancing act for the tree. Do I put my energy into growth? Do I put my energy into fruiting if I'm a fruiting tree? Or do I put my energy into fighting against XYZ pathogens, scavenging the soil for water and nutrients? They can't do it all.
Exactly.
So they get stressed. Yeah.
It's like your job, your plate, when it starts overflowing, you're just like,
Yeah. Yes. Amen. I say to you. Well, I want to speak to our listener right now who maybe is feeling a little bit like, okay, that maybe they've got a tree that you just discussed and they're like, oh no, I don't want them to feel badly.
Yeah.
It happens a lot. And people, you might look at a tree or a picture of a tree and you're like, well, that's the right height. That's the right spread. That's that's going to work perfectly. I have actually done this myself. I'm a Zamzo. I knew better. I had people tell me don't do it, and I did it, and I ended up losing. Actually, it was 2 trees, which I'm still depressed about. But by the time it was time to cut them down, it was really time to cut them down. They were now an eyesore, and I'd thrown the book at them, and I really have a lot of things that I can throw at them, as you know, and so sometimes it's just wrong tree or right tree, wrong place, that sort of a thing. And so people, I don't want them to feel badly if they've run into that situation.
And as professional horticulturists, we've killed many a plant.
Yeah, we have.
It's kind of how we learn, right?
That is how you learn how to do this stuff,
Yeah.
is you figure it out through a little bit of trial and error.
Oh, yeah.
So that's definitely something that we're familiar with.
And we don't feel bad about saying, prune it right at that soil level sometimes. We have
One
to say,
basil cut.
you know, it's pretty
Oh,
easy. It
you know
can be
what?
expensive. But
That actually makes me feel better. I just
Yeah.
pruned it
Yeah.
right at the
Okay.
soil level.
Or
That's
editing. Editing is what I usually say.
brilliant.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's so brilliant. So, speaking of people coming in from outside to here, do you think that the extension plays a role in responsible growth in the valley? Do you play a role in that, or if so, what would that role be, or how can you be supportive of that?
I mean, I think we play a role certainly in land stewardship and better practices and that educational piece. It really is our bailiwick.
I would concur with that. I think we all recognize that there's rapid, large-scale land use changes going on around us.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether you're an educator at the county level, an ag specialist, a 4-H youth development specialist, we just have to recognize that. So I do think there is a place for us at that table.
Yeah, I agree. Trick question. That was all. But you answered it right. That's great.
All right.
A pluses. That's what we care about.
Okay, so when you think 10 years down the road, so what do you think a truly healthy Treasure Valley looks like?
So for me as an arborist, I think in terms of like 50 or 100 years sometimes.
All right, let's go 50 then.
I mean, I think when you're dealing with these beings that last so long and outlive us,
Yes.
Yeah.
a lot of the
Yes.
time, when you're thinking in terms of their life cycles, you really have to think really far ahead. 10 years is doable, right? 10 years we can imagine what that future looks like for sure. So if I think a little bit more long term, it is that thriving urban canopy that is really diversified. That's something that I would really like to focus on a lot in terms of education and just providing and connecting people to resources with is that a more diverse tree canopy specifically will greatly help us in terms of emerging pests and diseases that may not be here already. Something like emerald ash borer that's really knocking on our doorstep right now.
Or it's here.
Or it could be here and we don't know it. We there's been no
Confirmed yet.
confirmed evidence of it.
Well, just don't confirm it and we'll be good, right?
That's the ostrich in the sand, right?
Yeah,
Oh, is that what that is? Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of that. But yeah, so the research tells us that the more diverse our plants selection is, the better, and specifically plants that are distantly related to each other, so not closely related. So you don't want to have a city full of just maples or a city full of just ashes, obviously, or a city full of just oaks. You really want to look at those groups that are small and unique and distant cousins of other trees, and that actually helps to protect against a lot of those. They just don't have as many pests or diseases really. So things like ginkgo trees, for instance, like
We love ginkgos.
it's the only tree species in that genus that's surviving today.
Oh.
So because of that kind of like narrow I guess genetic selection, and that's not the right way to say it, but they do have less pests and diseases.
And I think they were thought to be extinct for a long time, and then they found a small little some monks that
in
were
China.
like preserving
cool.
these trees that are ancient fossils, really.
Yeah.
They are living fossils.
Well, and is that the same thing that's the medicinal, like ginkgo? Is that different? Okay, same thing.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that have kind of the fun leaves that, right?
Yeah.
They're like
Biloba.
Yeah.
2 little lobes.
Yeah.
Fan-shaped kind of.
Yeah, they're really beautiful trees. Not everybody likes them because they do the female.
No females.
Yeah, the female.
Brad.
The female trees are a little stinky.
The fruit is
the
not.
fruit is a little messy, a little stinky. Although male trees produce a lot of pollen that makes them sneeze a whole lot. So there's pros and cons with everything.
Oh, that's so funny. I first encountered one when I was in New York City, and it was the smell. I was like, what is going on with it? And then somebody explained that that's what it was. Yeah. So, and at the same time, I was like, but look at these fun leaves. So, you've got the good and the bad, both directions.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, so looking 10 years ahead too, I like seeing, or this thought that HOAs as a community has a large thriving community garden.
Oh, I love that.
Right? Like you see a lot of HOAs and you see a lot of green grass or
That's
basins, if you will. The other thing that I will not take credit for this was a master gardener, Paulette.
Oh, yes.
You know Paulette.
Yes.
She said that every new house, they should have 2 4x8 garden beds in the backyard.
Oh.
If they were there when they're built and that person buys that house, I guarantee they garden. I guarantee they get their youth involved. And I said, that's brilliant, Paulette. You just need to create more hours in the day and I'll get that done.
No kidding. That's actually really brilliant, Paulette.
It is. Paulette, good work, Paulette Blasek.
Yeah. That really, I mean, think about it. I remember my very first house, it was in Meridian, and the people before us had built boxes. So ours did come with the boxes.
Exactly.
And I mean, I realized as a Zamzo, I should just know how to do these things automatically, but surprise, surprise, I didn't. But having those boxes already there and ready for me made it so much easier for us to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's also kind of nice too, if somebody, because there were only 2 boxes. So it wasn't a matter of like tilling up the whole backyard and taking on way too much and not being able to handle it. Because a couple of boxes you can handle when you're very first learning. So
exactly. A couple of tomato plants, some corn, some peppers, cucumbers, whatever you want.
Yes.
And that could help hit on the food insecurity stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a multi-pronged approach.
Absolutely. So speaking of the food insecurity, do you want to talk a little bit about the project that the seedling program?
Sure.
It's pretty cool.
Okay. The Food Bank Seedling Project. Kim Strathern, Julie Eldridge, and other Canyon County Master Gardeners partnered with Syngenta. You guys, I have the list down there, but over the past 5 years, they've grown all these plants and went out to all of these food banks and they hand them out to those clients for free.
It's so
while
awesome.
They're there to get food. Hey, take this. Here's some education. Come to our plant clinic. And I've done some calculations, and it's 17,900 meals over those 5 years.
So cool.
In fresh food.
Yeah, healthy, nutritional, yes, homegrown, yes, all of that.
So I put a value on it of more than $50,000 to the greater Canyon County or Treasure Valley area, which is fantastic.
It is.
They are planting soon at Syngenta. We thank Syngenta and other private organizations for their support.
Yeah, there's a lot of hands in the bucket there trying to help with that.
I know Zamzo's is in there as well, so thank you for your support.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really fun to be a part of. It's it's fun to be a part of things that are working really well.
Yes.
There's a lot of joy when you set out to do something. And this particular thing started off pretty small and has grown very quickly.
Yeah, my graph down there, you would be like, whoa, that's an exponential graph.
So cool. Yeah, it's really
neat.
great. Yeah, I love it. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and recognize our sponsor, Zamzo's. This episode is brought to you by Zamzo's, your local source for garden, pet, and planet-friendly products. As a thank you to our Nobody Knowz listeners, use code EXTENSION at the checkout at zamzos.com and you will receive 10% off your online order. This discount applies automatically and is valid online only, and it does exclude lawn programs. But it runs through June 30th, 2026. So you can even buy online and pick up in stores if you'd like. We've got 12 Treasure Valley locations where you can pick up. And so visit zamzos.com and let's grow something good.
Nobody knows like Zamzo's.
Okay, now we're shifting gears. This is the sharing is caring portion. I call it rapid fire, but don't feel pressured by that name, especially since I made it up. Okay, so sharing is caring. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
All right. So, and just feel free to blurt out your answer. And if you don't have one, that's okay too. There's two of you. So one of you can, so we'll just see how this goes. Okay. A plant you wish more people understood.
Curly cup gumweed.
You chose a pest. I like that.
Fantastic.
I'm going to choose a pest too. Bindweed.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Bindweed.
It's everywhere.
Well, curly cup gumweed, I'll say, is considered a weed in some circumstances. But did you know that there are some 49 different species of native bees that are specialists throughout the West on curly cup gumweed and rely on that pollen specifically in order to survive?
I didn't even know that.
There you go.
Mallow is a good one too.
Yeah,
There's
mallow.
many bee species that go and forage on mallow.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
After that, it shows you that if something is even considered really bad, there are good benefits. to
It's
things,
true. I'll learn
you know?
things like, I'll be like, oh, well, I don't like this, but it's got a medicinal property to it. Or it's amazing to me. all the different things that these plants do. And the field bindweed is a personal nemesis. Although last year I had the best luck, but it was mostly because I just super mulched. So it couldn't get through. And then when it finally did, I was able to get at it more quickly. Whereas before it just kind of was taking over my whole front area.
There was a study that was done. They shot field bindweed seeds into the vacuum of space, and they collected them and they brought them back down to earth.
Just like tardigrades, huh?
Just like they did with tardigrades. Yep.
Yeah.
80% of them germinated.
Oh.
Wow. We could throw a puncture vine in there too.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Oofda.
For the kids riding their bikes. Poor kids.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Stinkers.
Good
Yeah, those
heavens.
are not fun.
Yeah.
All right, well, those are good
Anyways,
answers.
yep.
Like those answers. All right. How about a common myth that you would love to retire?
So one that I harp on a lot is this is the myth now that I'm saying. So don't follow this advice. But when you're planting a containerized tree, matching the level of the soil in the container to the level of the soil in the ground is almost never the right thing to do.
Yes, which is kind of counterintuitive, right?
Yeah. So and that's something that is said a lot, but especially containerized trees, there's a lot that you have to do to prepare them for planting. You need to really go down and actually find that flare, find that where the trunk meets the root system, that root flare.
Okay.
And make sure that that's visible above the level of the soil. It's really, really critical for long-term health, and something that a lot of folks don't realize is the actual thing that's stressing the tree out throughout their entire lifespan. But it's something that isn't going to show up until 10 to 15 years down the road, when trees that are planted too deep create these what are called hinge points in their root system. And those hinge points are very, they're weak points, basically.
Okay.
So that under storms, high wind events, things like that, that's where we start to see tree failure from planting depth. And there's a bunch of other science involved with that, but that's the main thing. So don't match that level of the soil. Look and find out where that root flare is and make sure that's visible above ground.
So if somebody, let's say they did that last year and they're just hearing this, they're like,
Yeah.
is there something they can do now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, 1 year, you can still dig that thing up and
Yeah.
replant it. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Even 2 or 3 years. I mean, and arborists will do this up to probably 5 or 6 or, more years potentially. So yeah, I would replant if you had done that last year and realized that you can't see that root flare, or dig down and at least expose it. Because then you might also see other issues like girdling roots that are wrapping around and strangling the tree, that are literally cutting into those the tree's ability to take up water and nutrients and things like that. But yeah, that's a big myth that we bust all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of people I think who don't prepare the hole at all, and they make the hole exactly the same size as and they just kind of force it in there, and then they're like, I don't know why
And
it's
it's
not
like
concrete
concrete too,
Yes.
so it just drowns.
There's
the tree.
clay all the way around it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Our soils here, you need to go 2 to 3 sizes, 2 to 3 times the size of the root ball.
Yeah. Yeah, what does my dad say? If you've got and this was from back in the day, but if you've got a $5 tree, you want a $25 hole or whatever it is.
$100 hole.
$100 hole. There you
Such
go.
a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would, on the myth thing.
Yes.
that all creepy crawlies or insects, arachnids, they aren't all bad.
Right.
You know,
That's a
I
great
would say
answer.
that 99.99% of species are beneficial or innocuous. So we don't need to be spraying everything that you see on your plants, your tree, your shrub, something that gets in your house. You can release it outside and it's
Yeah.
probably just fine.
Yeah. And
I think it's also healthier too for
Yeah,
ecosystems
absolutely.
and people and
Absolutely.
pets. Remember the
Yeah.
pets, people.
Oh,
Always. Yeah, you're exactly right. And I never think about a chemical usage that I try not to, I mean, I also try to think about everything else that's going to be
Yes.
affected by it, because you might get rid of that one bug, but there might be a whole bunch of beneficials that by getting rid of them, you're now going to cause another problem. And so, yeah, I'm always very careful about that. I just try not to use them if I can, you know, just it usually takes a little bit more effort but you know, it's worth it. I think it's worth it. That's both great answers. Okay, how about a community event or program that you're excited about?
There's so many things.
Well, I would
go
say we're both going to have a plant sale. I believe mine is Canyon County's is May 2nd of 2026. So that is coming up. Ours will be at the Chicago classroom, which is 1901 East Chicago in Caldwell, Idaho.
And while you're out there going to that plant sale, you can also come over to Ada County because it'll be the same day.
Oh, nice.
It's really the best time to be providing plants. But yeah, so May 2nd, 9 to noon at the Ada County office on Glenwood, right next to the baseball stadium.
Yeah, and ours are grown by Master Gardeners. They're typically quite affordable, I would say.
Very affordable.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful place to, and there's usually some unique things. I love the finds.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just be like, what? You know, what's this? Or, you know, I say it's an interesting colored, iris or something like that, where you're like, wow, that's really cool. So yeah, very, very fun. Almost like a scavenger hunt a little bit when you get to go to these.
Absolutely. And we're both running plant clinics from May through September. So that is a free service to the public. If they have a plant question, an insect question, a soil question, a pesticide question, what be it, and bring it in. We'd be happy to talk about it.
There are no dumb questions. They're all good questions.
100%. We love questions. That's the name of the game. Yeah.
For sure. Okay, how about a simple action that homeowners can take that would make a big difference?
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Yep.
Homeowners. Okay. I'm going to hit on two really big things, I think, and it's all lawn maintenance. Okay. One of the best things the average homeowner could do, go in their garage, go in their shed, and raise their lawnmower blade.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Get it to that healthy 4-inch
Hallelujah.
height. You'll get less weeds, more water conservation. It will be stronger, healthier grass. It's just very, very healthy. My lawn stays green throughout the entire summer, fall, spring, and winter because I just adjusted my lawnmower blades. That's it.
Yeah. It's huge.
Sharpen them while you're down there.
Yeah, that's a good call.
There's a good one. And then
That is great.
The last thing I would hit on is irrigation. If you have a yard, you do not need to be irrigating every day. Do it deeply and infrequently.
Yes.
I do it 2 times a week most of the year, sometimes 3 when it's 105.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
You don't need to over manage things.
And if we're in spring right now, probably don't need to be doing anything with your water right now at all. Like hang tight. It's going to be just fine for a little while. You don't even need to, like my brother and I have this contest of who turned on our sprinklers latest.
Yeah. That's a good contest. Water conservation.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Oh, that's fantastic.
I think water was going to be mine. I think I want to say stay curious and look at your yard with curiosity. Try to look at it with fresh eyes. I know as a horticulturist, sometimes it can feel really overwhelming when you're looking at your garden or a space that you're managing professionally and all you see is a to-do list. I know that feeling really well. But try to step out of that occasionally and just start asking questions about your own space that maybe you answer or maybe you don't. And it's okay to just stay curious and look at your yard as an ever evolving project. There's no destination necessarily there. And it's always something that you can learn more about or really deepen your relationship with. We all have a relationship with space and our sense of space that ultimately feeds into our sense of belonging. I have lots of philosophical thoughts about this.
Brilliant. I love it.
But stay curious. Yeah, keep asking questions. Take notes if you want to.
Great advice.
Take pictures. That sort of thing.
Love that. Okay, well, I like the note of curiosity, because this is now the final question, and it's the question we ask everybody. There are no rules. You can answer it however you like. So here's the question. I'm asking it to both of you. You guys can each decide who wants to answer first. So the question is, what is something that nobody knows?
About me and ourselves?
Sure, if that's what you want to answer.
This is really open.
Sweet.
Okay.
I like it already.
Let's go.
I love trash reality shows. Absolutely love them.
It's awesome.
Okay, which ones? Which ones?
All of them. Okay, the judge shows are really good.
Oh, yeah.
Judge Judy, like my lady.
That's awesome.
The girlfriend's gotten me into Traders.
Oh.
Traders is so good. Oh, it's so good. The drama, the I'm gonna stab you in the back stuff. Survivor was also great.
Oh, yeah.
So I like all the trash TV shows. Even though I'm a scientist, I like to go home and turn off the brain and be like, "Oh, look what she did."
Oh, that's
Oh, man.
refreshingly authentic of you. I love that answer. That's fantastic. So good.
I love it. Well, here I am. I am a huge nerd. And really what nerds are is just people that are really passionate about the things that they like to learn about. So I even brought like a book with me and everything. Just a fact that I thought was really amazing. If you haven't read this book, The Light Eaters, and you want to deepen your relationship with plants and nature, man, this is the way to go. It's such a beautiful book. But one of the things that she talks about in there, and I was thinking about how it's this time of year where seeds are growing, or we're growing seeds inside, or we're just excited about spring and new growth. There's two facts in there that have really, really stuck with me since our nature book club read this, which is plants count the days, seeds count the days using sunrises and sunsets to understand the tempo of the season and how long days are before they emerge. So they use the ratio of far red to red light, looking at like how long the days are before they emerge. So it's not just temperature; they're actually intuiting like what how long each day is. And then the other one that was really beautiful is that seeds can recognize their kin, and they can recognize their relatives in soil versus other plants of the same species that are not necessarily directly related to them, so not necessarily like from the same mother plant, and they can recognize other species as well. So they did this experiment where they looked at putting this weed called plantain into containers, and when the plantain was with its kin, so it was with its other related seeds, and another plant that it wasn't related to, it would germinate more quickly and more uniformly all at the same time, because that recognition that, oh, I've got all these other relatives in this space, we're going to band together and germinate all at the same time so that we can take over this space, versus if they're, sitting in the soil by themselves and they don't have any other relatives around them, the germination is different and they won't germinate as quickly or as readily. Anyway, so The Light Eaters, beautiful book, full of amazing tidbits around plants that I thought are really cool.
Yeah, I read that recently, and
Cool.
if you're not prepared to think about the world in a completely different way, then this is not, because it was mind blowing. It was like there were things that were like, it's cutting edge science stuff about plants that you're like, how is that possible? And then the data is there to say this is the study we did, and it's like, holy cow, this is legit. It's pretty cool. Yeah, great answer. Both great answers. Thank you both for being here today. This was a really wonderful conversation. The community appreciates everything you're doing. In case we forget to tell you, thank you for everything that you're doing for the community, educating us, helping us solve our problems, helping us not, can things incorrectly and kill people, all sorts of things that you're doing right now that are helping the community be a better place. So thank both of you for what you're doing in both Ada County and Canyon County.
Thank
and
you,
the whole state of
Callie,
Idaho.
for inviting us. Thank you, Sierra, for coming. This was a blast.
Yeah, it's really
so
fun.
wonderful.
So good. Okay, well,
Little edit right there. Sorry.
if you enjoyed today's conversation, follow the podcast and leave a review. Next week, we'll hear from another incredible voice shaping the Treasure Valley. Until then, thanks for listening.